Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Insider. This week, I'm joined by a very special guest, Amardeep Sirha. Hello, Amardeep.
Hi, Ben. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. So for those who aren't aware, it's a bit of a funny one, really. Amardeep and I are business partners. We speak every day. We had our commercial call about an hour ago, and
That's
now
right.
we're having a pod. So it's a little bit, it's a bit different to the other ones. Amardeep, would you like to start off? Listen, I probably could give you a good introduction, but you'd probably say it wasn't quite good enough. So I might as well allow you to do a proper introduction.
Okay, so hi, everybody. I'm Amardeep Sirha, as Ben's just said. I'm his business partner. We opened a consultancy this year called AmarTi, and I guess I am the head of delivery there at the moment. I've worked in tech for about 5 or 6 years, and before that, I used to be an economics and business teacher. So yeah.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, that's really. Well, I'm really keen to kind of cover a lot of that on this episode. I think that, you know, we can dress up and talk about our business a lot, but that's obviously not what this pod's all about. Recently, as you know, regular listeners should be aware, I've been focusing around pain points for technology leaders. Amardeep is a co-founder and head of delivery in a technology business, but didn't start out in technology from school. It's a really interesting background, a really interesting story, and I think that's something a lot of technology leaders can listen to and hopefully understand and gain a bit of value from listening to Amardeep's story. Now, you started off. Talk us through when you left school. What kind of path did you go down?
So when I left teaching, I actually you could be a supply teacher, and I thought, well, I need to pay my rent, right? So I've quit my job now, so I'll go and be a supply teacher, and that will tide me over until I kind of figure out what I want to do, because I had no idea what I wanted to do. I just knew I didn't want to be a teacher anymore. So I was a recruiter, and I was a recruiter for teachers. So I recruited teachers into schools. Did that in London for a little bit. Didn't really enjoy it. Came out of that and did so many different jobs in lots of different industries. And then I had a really interesting chat with my cousin, actually, who's got a significant role in technology, and he's quite a leader in himself up north. He was chatting to me at a boxing match, a white collar boxing match, what my brother was doing. And he said, oh, why don't you work in technology? And I was like, what? And answered the phone in a call center. And he was like, oh, wow. And I was like, what is that? I don't really want to do that. I did that when I was 16 years old. And he said, no, I don't think it's quite that. And he talked me through what technology is. And we just sat and we had a few drinks, and he really, really, truly helped me understand what technology was. Anyway, we've had a few drinks now. We're all a bit drunk. I thought nothing of it, but he picked up the phone in the morning and he called me back and he said, I honestly think your skill set is going to transfer really well into a business analyst. I was like, what's a business analyst? And that's where the journey began. So before I embarked on applying for roles, and this is going to take me off on lots of different tangents, so please
Yeah, well, it's all right. We'll pull each other back in. Well, yeah. I'll probably go for one myself, so we'll just pull each other in. It's fine.
Because you know where I'm at. So I was like, before I started applying for any roles, I did my research as usual. So I started looking into the different roles, and there's obviously a lot of different roles in technology. Because when I searched roles in technology, the first thing that came up was engineer.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I need a computer science degree. I need this, I need that. And I thought, well, I'm not going to be able to do that. When I looked at the business analyst skill set role, I was like, pretty much got all those skills, could definitely get some more. And
just quickly on that then, what particular skills did you stood out as a business analyst that you thought, yeah, they're transferable?
So I think if you look at teaching teaching essentially, and I don't want to break it down because teaching is a tough career.
Yeah. But and how long were you a teacher for?
8 years.
Yeah, 8 years. Fine. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's fine. And I did it in lots of different capacities. So I was head of department. I was just a normal teacher. I did it abroad. Did it in lots of different capacities. Loads of respect for teachers.
Yeah,
but
right.
Essentially, you're given a curriculum that you have no control over. You're given a set scope with a time frame that is also set, and quite often you could lose your job if you don't deliver, because then you're not a good teacher, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
All that almost pressure is the same, because we've got a fixed scope, we've got a fixed budget, we've got a fixed time scale, and also taking young adults and children, depending on what age group you teach. I taught sixth form predominantly, with a little bit of GCSE if they did it. So taking young adults on a journey to make sure they get their target grades. So relationship building, stakeholder management by making sure your head of department satisfied, your peers are satisfied, your head teacher satisfied, organisation, cross collaboration with other teachers. So if you've got a split group of, so like quite often in like sixth form, if it's not a straight A level and you're studying, I can't even remember what they used to be, but like a vocational way of doing a business studies course, you would have so many hours to cover. So you'd split that class with a teacher. So how can you cross collaboration with another squad? I started looking into it and I thought, well, technology I can learn. I can learn that. But the skills, I've got them and I can brush them up. And the industry I can read about and I can learn about it. And I can see who the industry leaders are. I can see where the competition lies. So I felt off I went and I started applying for business analyst roles and just didn't get anywhere. Which it brings me on to something I really want to talk about, which is, do we have the right people in the industry? So I'll go on to that in a minute. I just didn't even get the time of day. I just not even get the time of day from anyone. And it's just because they look at your CV and I don't know how. I mean, I've recruited heavily. Just quickly,
were you looking at junior business analyst roles then? Because obviously you weren't like a junior per se who's just come out of university, who's kind of like early mid-20s. You're older. So what kind of business analyst role were you looking at?
I was looking at junior. I was looking at apprentice. I was looking at. So
you're looking at the right level of position. Yeah.
But equally, that was to get my foot into the door.
Yeah.
I also knew once I get to know the company, I might jump up a bit higher than some other people because of my breadth of experience and another career that I've got, which should never, ever be looked at as if it's not part of your overall career.
100%, yeah. Well, this is something that's massive at the moment. So over the last half a dozen podcasts, we've covered things, there's a massive skill shortage in technology. How are we going to change that? It's by pulling in people who've got different backgrounds, diverse thinking is a big thing. But I think, that traditional computer science degree is going away. When I first started out recruiting 15 years ago, everyone needed to have a computer science degree and you don't anymore. I was speaking to Matt Barrow last week. I know you know Matt. Yeah. Matt's hired guys with English degrees and I can't remember, maybe I want to say like geography degrees, but it's that different diverse thinking of junior, junior positions that are coming into the industry. Yeah. Your story is a little bit different because you had a career and then you've moved into technology and within plenty of time. And I think this is the massive thing we're up against. How can we get more people into technology? How can people understand the variance of positions in technology? Because you're absolutely right. I think people generally think engineer straight away or support, don't they? They think, well, support engineer or a software programmer. And there's so many other positions that you can get into. So how did you, and this is the other option, you kind of like chicken and an egg. Companies are so particular about finding people who've come out of university with a certain degree and not looking at people who have got the transferable skills as you obviously had. Yeah. And it obviously took you a bit of time to get into technology. So how did that opportunity, when you get your foot through the door, how did that kind of come about?
So I interviewed at Sky and got rejected. I was interviewed by 3 people, all business analysts, and they had like multifaceted roles. Very good at their jobs. And where I couldn't answer a question, I just say I don't know, like I've not done this before. For me, when I was recruiting teachers, whether it was into my department or whatever the situation might be, I would never look at someone and if they could say in an interview, I don't know, that gave me more confidence in a skill set of being able to say I don't know. So I didn't get the job. And then about 3 months later, I got a call back from Sky saying, can you come and re-interview? So I was like, okay. At this point, I've done I was working in a data analyst job, not in a technology department. It was in the operations department. It wasn't really a data analyst either. It was more spreadsheet queen. And so I'd done 3 months is a lot of time to research and do courses and stuff. So I felt a lot more prepared. But when I walked in this time, I was very clear that I've never been a business analyst. That doesn't mean I can't be a business analyst. And I started the interview like that. And it was with Mark Kitchen, I know you've had on your podcast before. And I got the job. And I said, I was the first hire. And I said to him once I got to know him a little bit, which was like a week, like, why did you hire him? And he said, and this is what changed my thinking a lot as well. He said, Amardeep, you can learn the skill set. You can't learn the passion, and you can't learn the personality, and you can't learn the ambition. You just can't learn it. So he was like, for me, I'm aware that you will learn skills, because I can see from your career that you have the ability to pick up skills and go out and be take the initiative. And then it just skyrocketed from there. I was given the platform to fail very, very quickly, and boy, did we fail in that first year. And the projects we took on, plus the dynamic that we were working in, it was so much fun, but like a lot of high pressure. And it was Sky's got this really nice culture of fail fast and fail forward. No blame game, no finger pointing. So, and it's not, when I say fail, you don't fail a delivery. You're like, oops, didn't realize that, didn't know that. Oh, that came out of nowhere. And they're like, all right, cool, what do we do next? So when you've got an organization breeding that kind of culture and letting it manifest in a learning culture, everyone's going to thrive. So, and I think going there first, now that I think about it, all the jobs I got rejected from, I'm really glad I got rejected from, because you wouldn't have been able to give me what I've got now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and yeah, good on Mark. I mean, he's a great guy, isn't he? I think that he thinks outside the box, obviously, because again, when we go into when you would have started in Sky, I think there is more of a, the Titanic's turning a little bit. I think that there's this very predominant background that we have to have in technology, and I think there's a few big technology leaders who do kind of rage against the machine and see the bigger picture and then change it, and then suddenly an Amardeep comes into a business like Sky, who hasn't come from your traditional computer science background, has come from a teaching background, and obviously does well, and then it's other divisions will look at that and say, oh, hang on a minute, I'll do this, and then in a bigger business like Sky, it turns slowly, but then the industry needs to be aware of this as well, I think. But ultimately, when you're at school, technology wasn't something you wanted to get into. How can we change this? And not, I think that's a bit vague, actually. I think people do want to get into technology. There's not enough women in technology. I know this is something you're really passionate about. So as a woman in technology, how can we address this in schools, and how can we get more women into technology?
Okay, well, let me just chop up that question a little bit more, because I think there's lots of different variables. First of all, yeah, I'm a woman in tech. Secondly, I'm a brown woman in tech. We do see color, and I'm brown, right? So there's a few different angles I'm going to come from. So the women in tech movement, or whatever we want to call it, I'm not massively bought into it. I'm super passionate about women being in tech. I think the way in which it went off on almost a tangent left a lot of people out. It didn't make a lot of allies, etc., etc. I think it's brilliant the foundations have been put in place, and the noise is being made. But we don't just drag women out of other industries where they might be really successful, and we don't just drag them into an industry that they might not feel comfortable in. We really chop up why women are not in tech. We look at like biology, biology tells us that women are, we're a little bit more caring, we're a little bit more this, we're going to end up in industries like this, and there's heavily women dominated industries as well. I'm really careful about my words, so I don't want to offend anybody.
That's okay.
But we start young. I taught economics for however many years, and business. Did I teach many girls? No, I didn't. Did I stand at open evenings and when you go to like your sixth form open evening to pick your subjects, did I not constantly try and get girls into my classroom? Absolutely. I didn't realize I was fighting a women in STEM battle back then. My sister was a science teacher. I didn't realize she's been fighting a battle of women in STEM from back then. I didn't realize until I moved into technology, and I was like, it's not a lot of women around. So it starts a lot younger. It starts in the curriculum, and the curriculum starts in year 1 and year 2.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it starts. And not just talking about STEM subjects. So when I get a choice of a PE that I have to pick in year 8 or year 9, why do I get hockey and tennis, and why do the lads get football and rugby? What is that about? What are we telling young men and young women? Why are we also nurturing women to a point where it's going to be teaching them about motherhood and then that's not important. Of course, it's important. Boys need to be taught about fatherhood. Equally, I need to know about rugby and football, and they need to know about hockey and tennis or whatever the case might be. So I think it actually starts a lot younger.
Yeah.
So right now, there might be a massive amount of women that are trying to get in technology. First of all, don't shove engineering down their throat.
Yeah.
Why is there so many schemes that are now open about women in tech that are only focusing on women?
Just quickly on that then, do you think at school, this is what I'll rein you in, and then vice versa probably, but at school, when and I did like a technology course at school, and I learned IT at school, but I didn't necessarily learn about kind of business analysis or project management. I was you do very basic coding and things like that, and I think that like coding's like Marmite, right? Like you could just be like, no, I don't fancy doing this. And if some basic coding or something like that is one of the first things that you learn at school, that could put people off. Do you know? I'm not too sure. I kind of feel like I just understand how like we work closer with the schools. The technology industry does.
I think that's an unfair comment because, and I'll tell you why. When you're little, basically all subjects are shit and boring. Are they not? Are they not?
Right? Well, yeah.
You pick a subject that you really like, and it's usually based on a teacher or your parents.
Fair, yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah,
so you might grow up loving drama or maths or English, and it's usually based on the teacher makes it fantastic.
Yeah.
So why can't a teacher make coding fantastic? Why is coding boring? It's not. It's very interesting. Plus, with the also use society now, right? There's a lot more children, boys and girls, whoever, that game. So gaming and all the things, and gaming is not like what we used to play, Ben. It's not Mario Kart. It's absolutely not Mario Kart. Now it's proper gaming, and that nicely touches into engineering. So why can't we make, even if it's just a tiny bit of coding? And I think they do something now in Scratch, and they make it fun. Why can't we do that now to introduce the concept? I'm sure at one point somebody said, at some point for every subject, somebody said, why do we need to teach kids business studies? And somebody was like, well, let's make the curriculum fun, or English or maths or whatever the case might be. It's just like, I don't know what's going on. I've got all my windows open and now I've got an on.
You look like you're dancing. Well, it's a good point. I think that the whole point with the coding side of things, I think it's just that it's the message that there's a broad range of positions within technology, and it's like and how we do that is there's so much that we can talk about from the curriculum, isn't there? I think that I've learned a lot. I'm 38 and Black History Month, just listening to the news and watching some TV programs, I can't believe some things that I didn't know. And and one thing that's come off the back of this is that there's going to be more of this in the curriculum for children anyways, and it's like great. So so it's like all the Black Lives Matter, everything that comes off the back of that like I say, it's a generational thing, we know that, but if it's being taught at schools, then obviously it's going to have a better impact. So I just think that,
and once you start teaching something, like you just said, there's a lot of things that you weren't aware of. People will understand that technology doesn't just mean engineer. It means project manager, business analyst, scrum master, PMO office. Like it includes so many different roles. If you work as an office manager in a technology company, you also work in tech. You're telling me that office manager hasn't picked things up? If you are an in-house recruiter for a company that is a technology consultancy, you work in tech.
Absolutely,
and it's the same. It's the same if you worked in fashion. Now I work in fashion, So I think, embedding technology into a curriculum will allow the teacher and the students or whoever to explore that technology is not just this, it's also this and this and this and this. And how you have, like, in your curriculum, you have your different modules and you tell a story, and by the end of it, you're having an exam or whatever the case might be. So you tell the story. So we might start with engineer. We might start with business analyst. You might start with project manager, it doesn't matter, but people need to be aware of this, and they need to be made aware from young. And it might be a case that if they are taught from young, suddenly in like 20 years time, there's too many women in the industry and now we need more men. You just don't know until you give people information.
I think the message that we'd send to technical leaders at the moment is to be, as open-minded as you can be, because I think that, like I say, I think over the last, and I think it is, it is shifting, but you're just a classic story of how somebody, you had a career in teaching, you moved into technology, you've done incredibly well in technology, and now you're, co-founder of a technical consultancy. And I think this is a story that technical leaders should be looking at, and keeping an open mind and speaking to those people. I think it's
absolutely important. And not just that, but you've not just got like career, like someone who's like, I'm going to change my career, I don't know what to yet, but I'm gonna. You've also got like staying on the side of women when they go on mat leave, or they choose to now be a mum for a little bit, which is also a career in itself, but then choose to come back to work. Quite often it's quite a pivotal moment in that mum's life where they might choose to change their career. So we've got I don't know what they call, like career comebackers, I don't know, return to work or whatever the case might be. And now with like unprecedented times, people are thinking, is this what makes me happy? Because now I'm at home in my four walls. I haven't got the pleasure of being in the office and having all that office banter. I'm just at home, and am I actually happy? So actually, we should be seeing technology is not going to stop, and if anything, it's probably boomed a little bit in these
Agreed, yeah.
So how are we getting the right people into the companies? I am so mortified if I do interview for anything and someone says to me, how long have you like done project management?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Kind of like,
yeah,
I project manage my life, don't we all?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that depth of experience is not important, of course it is, but equally, as we get older, we have to unlearn behaviors from when we were younger, right? That we learn as teenagers and children that are unhealthy habits or toxic habits. Do you not think that happens in a career?
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. Fascinating. And I love this because it's, you are, first-hand witness and success story. So I think it's great. I'd like to touch a little bit on us, be silly if we don't. So again,
before you go on,
go on.
Sorry,
women in tech. I know you're going to pull me back in. Go on.
I just wanted to pick up on two things. So we talked about women in tech, and now I want to talk about brown people in tech.
Okay.
I want to talk about BAME in tech.
So,
okay. Which there's not, like, it's non-existent. Like, it actually makes me feel sick to my core, because it goes right down to it. Sometimes when I'm in a place of where I'm working, and honestly, I look around and nobody looks like me. I can't even identify with anyone. And then people start saying my name incorrectly, or they make little subtle, I'm not going to say ignorant, because it's not ignorant, because nobody should be ignorant, because we've got Google. Remarks that are racist, or I get called spicy or exotic.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, or aggressive. All these little things.
I've probably called you aggressive.
Yeah, but I am aggressive. I am aggressive. It's warranted in that.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But I think that is something that needs to be addressed. I think the women in tech movement, brilliant, crack on. But you've also got this other massive issue of non-white in tech.
It's very similar the way I see it, in terms of brown people, as you say, like coming into technology, because I had an amazing podcast with David Germain, the CIO of RSA, and he was incredible. But the key message is that, like, it's equality. No one's going to say, I work in recruitment. It's all about getting the right person for the job.
Exactly.
But it's the equality, and it's everyone having the fair chance. But in the same respect of kind of women in tech, everyone's got to want to come into that environment and want to work in that environment, and do not feel like they're, in the minority as you are, and feel confident enough to do it. Ultimately, so I can say this because I know you really well. You're a very confident person, and it's water off a duck's back. But for other people, it might not be. And this is something that, like I say, they've got to have that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm actually glad. Like, I'm glad I am the way I am. I'm very aware that I'm maybe more confident than the average person, whatever the case might be. But I can't not be anymore, because I can't sit in situations where somebody's making a racial joke in jest, in banter. And so I can quite clearly see someone else being a little bit offended by it.
Yeah,
And this
absolutely.
is not just, what people don't understand is I could be sat in a room full of white people and just me, and somebody makes a very tongue-in-cheek joke, whatever, which is racially inclined. And not only are you offending me, you're probably offending quite a few of the maybe all of the white people in that room. And that's what people don't understand.
Yeah.
It's not about white and non-white. It's about, don't be bloody ignorant, and understanding that we all come from different backgrounds. I remember one time I was sat in an office. This is my peak of like, wow, people still say these things. And I quite in that office, and I'm not going to name anything, but we would have breakfast quite often together at 10. So we'd do our stand-ups and everything. And then we'd all get a bit of time, around 15 minutes at 10 o'clock. And we always used to take our breakfast, buy in whatever we wanted. And I was on this like strict diet with my personal trainer. So in the morning, I'd eat an Indian breakfast, right? Whatever. So I've got my breakfast and I've sat at the table. And a girl has said, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're eating a curry for breakfast." And I was A, embarrassed because I was sat with like about 15 people, B, confused. And before I had a chance to and I think I was younger. I was a lot younger, so my tempo was a lot quicker. And I thought I'm about to get fired because I'm going to go in at this girl. Another middle-aged white man said, "Oh, what do you think they eat in India for breakfast? Do you think they have a full English?" And just with that one comment, the room burst into laughter. I felt like a little bit more dignified. Didn't need to say anything, carried on eating my breakfast. And the girl came over later and apologized. She didn't do it in public. She came over and she was like, "I'm really sorry that I actually realized when you said that. That was so stupid. What is your breakfast? Blah, blah, blah." Because I wasn't eating a curry, but equally it was a curry. So it's little things like that you don't even want to work in that industry. If I can make the same amount of money or get the same amount of happiness and passion from this area where there's more ethnic minorities, why am I even going to be wanting to be exposed to that? And that's one thing that said to me, a content girl.
But that what's the impact that could have had on the business? You could have felt uncomfortable. You could have left the business. Suddenly the business loses somebody who's very good at their job off the back of a remark that maybe someone said in jest, and felt bad about afterwards. And
but this is the key. Ben, this is the key. I think this is really important. In jest, I can't make a joke in jest.
No.
To a white person.
Well, the reason is it doesn't sound as though this girl meant it in a nasty way, and she obviously felt bad about it afterwards. But the fact is, she said it, and it offended you. And you could have overreacted in any way, really, couldn't you? And that includes an impact of leaving the business.
But it's not just the food. Often ethnic minorities, especially people with names that are not traditionally from this country, they'll pick on the name. Oh, how do you say that again? Have you got a shorter name? It's all racial.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? It's not equal, because equally, I'm going to pick a name, Samantha, 3 syllables, Amardeep 2.
Yeah.
It's just letters.
No, 100%.
But anyway, so that also stems from young, and I think that also needs to be attacked in schools. There's too many schools that are predominantly white and predominantly not white, and the curriculum is so outdated. The curriculum is so outdated in every single manner, which is why we are seeing so many teachers leave the industry. When you teach, it's because you are so passionate to teach. So when a teacher leaves teaching, I'm telling you, it's probably one of the hardest decisions they've made, because when you teach, you do it because you have a passion for it. And I loved teaching. And when I left teaching, I was like, you're being really selfish. You're being really, what about the kids? And it's always kids first. So the fact that they're leaving, you've got this massive exodus of brilliant people, smart people, intelligent, articulate, can work a room really well, needing an industry to go to bring them into technology. I think there's more women than there are in men in teaching, I think. But equally, we're leaving another gap. So,
it's fascinating. You and I could talk all day, and and we probably are. But the thing is a really important point. It's like everybody, everybody should be aware of this. If they're not, they need to be. There's bigger pictures. Just talking to you, one thing after every pod, I always come away with something, and I think that's a hell of a point. And off the back of just this chat with you, saying this live as we chat, it's like I don't think enough about the impact that, say I'm a technical leader and I have a couple of squads. I don't think the impact that one of the engineers might say that might offend somebody over there, and however it comes across and however it's said, it can have a massive impact, mental health, with them leaving the business. And how do you stay on top of that? It's really tough. It's really tough, but it's really important to talk about. Now, like I say, it'd be silly if we didn't kind of cover our business a little bit before the end. Now, the joke is we started our company on April 1st, so we must be April Fools. It's been a bit of
me, you and Peachy looking at each other like that.
Yeah, been a bit of exactly on Zoom. Yeah, it's been a hell of a year, hasn't it? How's success is an iceberg and all that. How have you found it? Have you start your own business in the most crazy year that we'll ever have? Yeah.
April Fool's Day. You know what? I think it was I don't regret my decision.
There's never a bad time to start good business. Not at all.
Yeah, I think that's really important, because I know a couple of other people have started smaller businesses like Amazon shops and stuff. And I have never regretted the decision. And I remember one time calling you guys quite earlier on when it was lockdown. I was living in an Airbnb. I had no kitchen. I was eating hot noodles. And I called you and I was like, clearly, without saying it, questioning my decision, wanting to go back to my old company, crying a lot. And you guys were like, I don't understand why you're crying. We're fine. And it's just, you trivialize, is that the word?
You're the teacher.
Well, I'm not an English teacher. My panic, because I was like, oh my God, we haven't got a client, rah, rah, rah. I was so worried that you guys were going to bail. And you just kind of simply said, well, you think we're not going to go through a recession at some point? You think we're not going to go through this? And I think you guys having your experience and running a successful business already, and just really filled my gaps of panic and run. So it's been hard. It's been horrific, but I've had more meaningful conversations with potential clients and people we're going to end up working with. More focused time with them. I think, especially in April and May time, a lot of people had time to sit on Zoom and talk to you, or whatever and talk to you and spend time with you. And actually, I don't know about you guys, but I got tremendous amounts of support, and I still am, amounts of support. And this is not from like my peers that give me support. This is from some really good industry leaders.
Oh yeah.
That are saying, right now I can't do anything. Come the end of this year, when we all figure out business-wise what we're doing, we're working with you. We want to work with AmarTi. We want to work with AmarTi. And I think that, combined with the dynamic that me, you, and Peachy have, I think I don't doubt what we're going to do.
Yeah, you're right. I think that we work through two recessions as recruiters and see how the market goes. My experience is that technology projects seldomly get cancelled. They stop and they delay, and then they need help coming in. I think that's two angles for us, isn't it? I think where we've been supporting clients is more on projects that have kind of fallen behind, or maybe a little bit in trouble, and coming and firefighting. I think our strength is going to be taking customers on a journey from early part and understanding problems and providing good technical solutions. How would you kind of, if we were to say, what do AmarTi do? What's our kind of core area of expertise within kind of technical delivery? What are we?
I think
really strong on?
We are an honest consultancy that come in and give you consulting skills. So this is the landscape as it is. You've got some fundamental organizational issues that need to be resolved. Equally, whichever technology project you give us, be it data, be it a new app, be it a new website, be it legacy, go to the cloud, whatever that might be, we have the specialism to also fulfill that. But remembering first and foremost that we have a set of consultancy skills. So when we come in and deliver our message, it's organizational. Where I like to work, and I'm going to plug myself selfishly, is I love data. I love the data space. I love the use of data. I love making sure the data is right, putting it in the right space, exposing it in the right ways, and then watching ultimately how it's used to make better customer journeys and decisions. So that's where I really enjoy working, but equally, you know, we span across all the different.
Yeah, and I think, and again, for anybody who's not so aware, obviously my business partner James and I, we've worked in recruitment for 15 years, mainly within digital, I guess, but I guess the last 2 years really heavily in data. So our network is incredibly strong of just some of the best engineers, architects in the business. And you know, for us to have someone like Amardeep to own and deliver projects, you know, it's a fantastic partnership, and I'm so excited. And especially when you look at the kind of pipeline of work we have at the moment, the clients we're speaking to, I'm really excited about probably realistically now moving into the new year. But like I say, I think we've got some really big couple of months coming up with potential projects. Ams, I want to leave it there, but what I want to do, I'm very confident you're going to say yes, but I'm going to so that's why I'm going to put you in the situation. If there's women who hear this who want to get into technology, if there's anybody who can resonate with what you've said, your journey, are they okay to reach out to you?
Absolutely hit me up on LinkedIn, send me a DM. I might not get back to you immediately, but I get a lot of messages a day, but I always return a message. And already I'm already working with a lot of women that have already reached out to me. And to be fair, a lot of young men reach out to me, like in early 20s, to support them in their career, and I already do that. So yeah, like I'm completely happy for people
and similarly,
and whatever that case might be.
And similarly, obviously, you know, technical leaders who'll be listening to this podcast who maybe want to who've maybe got ideas on how they can, you know, shape their business around, you know, bringing more women into technology, or ask you questions about diversity or whatever it might be. And obviously, you know, or they want a new data platform built or a data migration, obviously as well, technical leaders can reach out to you similarly. Yeah,
absolutely. I think on the kind of women in tech, and I'm going to call it colour in tech.
Colour in tech, okay, yeah.
I don't think that's going to cut on, and I'm probably going to get a lot of heat for that.
Well,
I said it.
You said it, yeah.
I said it. Yeah, you didn't say it, Ben. I think if you want to get in touch with me from that, I'm going to say some pretty candid stuff that other people are not willing to say. Yeah. I'm not bothered of taking the heat for something that needs to be said, and that's been my life, right? I say things and I expose, like have you seen some of my content that I put out? I expose the shit that's already on the fan, and then take the heat. And equally, I'm not bothered if it takes the heat as long as it moves us forward. Just before everything happened in, I don't like saying Black Lives Matter, so I'm not going to use that phrase, but in that kind of space, and then companies were releasing statements on where they stood, political, business orientated statements. Quite a lot of industry leaders called me and read me their statement first.
Really?
Just because they knew, I'm not going to get offended if it is slightly offensive or written incorrectly, but equally I'll just be like, that sounds stupid because this is what you're basing. I'm not black, but I'm of colour, right? So that's going to piss me off, and I'm not black. So, just be careful. So if anybody wants to reach out on stuff like that, I'm really happy to be involved in things like that.
Amazing. Listen, I've really enjoyed this chat, actually. Although we're business partners, I've learned a lot, and like I said, I think a lot of other people can as well. So yeah, I'm proud to have you as my business partner. Thank you very much for your time, and probably speak to you in the next half hour about something work related. Yeah. All right, thanks a lot.
Bye.